Hi, everyone.
Hello, hello.
Just a little bit of a question while we wait for everyone to join us.
Yeah, we're just giving folks a minute or two to join, and then we'll get started. We've got a really insightful session lined up for today. We'll be diving into how leading companies are using tech to master sustainability reporting and sharing some real-world examples and solutions. And the quick note while we wait, as you can already see, we will be running a few polls during the session. It's a great way for us to get a pulse from the group and help us plan similar events in the future, similar relevant events in the future. And actually, we've started already with the most important one. We have this forum of great minds gathered here today, so we can settle this once and for all. Does pineapple belong on pizza? If you have any strong opinions about this, now is the time to make your voice heard. Do you think pizza dough is merely a vessel to carry the toppings? Or should we not stray from the path of our forefathers when it comes to pizza? Let us know. I myself, I can't vote because I'm a host, but my choice is no way, it does not belong on pizza.
I'm with you, Ali,
Yeah,
but let's not influence the votes here.
okay. And we will be sharing the results live. So this poll and the subsequent ones. So we'll all see what the people think. And to everyone who's just joined, this is how we start things by deciding the most important things. Pineapple on pizza. What do you think? And we'll give it one more minute
Yeah.
to let more people join, and then we'll get started. So Casper, why do you think pineapple does not belong on pizza?
I'm all for sweet and salty, believe me, but for me, it's the texture, the juiciness. Too juicy. It's like adding water to your pizza. It doesn't work.
Yeah, I agree.
Dried pineapple, maybe. Have to test that out.
Deep fried pineapple on pizza. You're onto something. Yeah.
All right, should we kick things off?
I think so, but first let's see the results. No way.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Thank
No
you.
way wins, but lower margin than expected.
It's a win. I'll take it. It's still a win.
Yeah.
All right. With that settled, with that out of the way, let's see what we'll be covering today. Okay. We'll be briefly going over who we are, what we do, and then Casper in the ESG Innovations Lab section will walk us through the 4 scenarios of technology-assisted reporting and how our customers are currently using Novisto in each of those. And in the last section, but before we get to the last section, both the chat and Q&A windows of Zoom are available for you to send your questions, and we'll be addressing them towards the end at the Q&A section. Okay, and starting with the who we are part, I'm Ali. I'm an account executive at Novisto. I've been with the company for almost 4 years now in different capacities and different roles. And throughout my tenure here at Novisto, I've had hundreds of conversations with different companies of different sizes from various industries from all over the world. And in those conversations, we've discussed their requirements, their objectives, and how our solution and our team can address those needs and those goals. And over to you, Casper.
Yeah, my name is Casper. I've been at Novisto for 5 years now. So almost at the beginning of the company, I've seen quite a growth in the market, in the ESG solution market. There's some actors that don't exist today when I started. And I've also had quite a few roles at Novisto here. This is my fourth role. So happy to be showcasing the platform, what we're working on, giving a sneak peek as well around our AI capabilities later on. So I'll touch upon that. But yeah, happy to meet everyone today. hopefully we get to meet in person at some point in the future.
Perfect. Thank you, Casper. And as a small reminder, today's session is part of a series of webinars that we host throughout the year. On the screen, you can see the two that we hosted earlier this year, and you'll find those two among with the rest of the webinars. It's going to be around 10 or so, and you'll find all of them on demand available on our website on the resources hub on the Novisto website, so make sure you check them. And continuing with who we are, Novisto is an enterprise software company. It was founded in 2019 in Montreal, and we've grown a lot in the last 5 years. We are now 120 employees based in different countries all across the world, supporting more than 100 customers in Canada, USA, Europe, Asia, and Africa, as those blips on the map show. All this growth has been made possible by the trust of our customers in our solution and the backing of some of the most prominent Canadian VC firms, as you can see on this timeline. So with that intro, let's kick things off with the first scenario, which is A to Z of responding to CDP with this poll. So which one of these questionnaires is your top priority? Are you mainly concerned with CDP? Are you spending more time on the CSA by S&P Global, the CSA questionnaire? Are you mainly working on EcoVadis, or you're just spending more resources on your regulatory reporting, on your mandatory reporting? A big example of that is CSRD. Let us know in the poll. Like 10, 20 more seconds for people to select their choice, and then I'll hand it off to Casper for the ESG Innovations Lab section. So let me stop sharing.
All right, I'll take over. And we have some chats here, Ali, just making sure you're keeping track of that. CDP, perfect. All right. And CSRD. Not a lot of S&P and EcoVadis. I'm surprised, just one person. All right.
Yep.
Well, we'll definitely cover CDP today, so that's good. All right, let me start sharing my screen here. All right. Like this. Okay, Ali, can you just confirm that you're seeing my screen? Yeah, I see a thumbs up. Great, thank you. All right, so the first mini scenario that we'll be showing today is CDP answering. In general, maybe as an introduction, just to, not the scope of today's conversation, but of course on Novisto, we allow our customers to manage all of their disclosures, right? So they'll have all of their data within Novisto. All of it is cross-referenced across different standards and frameworks and questionnaires such as CDP. The purpose is for our customers to be able to collect all of their data and then be able to reuse that multiple times across their disclosure requirements throughout the reporting season. So right now our customers are ramping up for CDP throughout the summer, but today we're focusing really on CDP. So as I just said, on the Novisto platform, you can create all sorts of different questionnaires. As you create these questionnaires, the system will automatically detect or identify data that you already have within your database. So we're creating a CDP questionnaire, for example, today, an integrated questionnaire, which version of the questionnaire it is. So you can have different historical versions if for whatever reason you wanted to build that. And then you can identify which source. So of course, within Novisto, you can digitize all of your sources. You can have them consolidated. You can have a parent-child structure here. So you decide for which source you want to create this response for. And there's different options here. You can pre-fill data as well from previous versions. For example, if you want to start off from last year's responses. So let me just switch over here to an already created one. So basically, when you create this, this is what it looks like. So you'll have your 200 some questions here from CDP. You see I'm currently in the progress of completing this. All of these questions are really taken directly from the CDP guidance. We actually have a partnership with CDP. So we really have all of their questions here digitized. And you can travel through these questions. Each question you'll have, basically you can identify different historical data sets, related fields. So let me give you an example here of this within climate change as an example. So I've started answering my climate change section here. I want to go and find my scope 1 metric here. So I have some initial questions from CDP here. So let me go to scope 1. So if I'm looking at my scope 1 question within CDP, I can see, first of all, I can see that there's some historical data. So I can see, okay, what did I answer last year? And again, we do that mapping within Novisto, not just between the different standards and frameworks, but also between different versions. So as you probably know, CDP changed their questionnaire year over year. I'm in a 2024 example, so this is as of last year, let's say. But the same applies to this year. So I can see what did I answer, even though it's not exactly the same question, that mapping is done for you, so you can reuse that or just compare it. And you can even see what your peers have said. So we're actually integrating your peer data directly within a platform, and you can keep track of what your peers are saying or responding to a specific question. You can look at the related fields as well. So not only looking at past year's data for CDP specifically, but looking at your database in general. So looking at your, again, this is scope 1 metric, but you can identify data points within your database that correspond to this CDP data point. As you're collecting this data, some of this data will, or most of this data will already be collected once you do your annual data collection, but others would like to collect data specifically for CDP, or perhaps you want to verify this data. You want to send it to some different collaborators. So let me maybe just give you another example, just to give you a diversity of examples here. Let's go to the forest section here of environmental performance. If I look at this one, for example, the different exclusions. So actually, I want to send this because you can see this metric is in an open request. So I've actually sent this already to a request here. I've created a request called the CDP exclusions. I've sent it to the request already, and I've sent it to myself. So what does it look like? If I go to my request section here, I still have a whole bunch of requests here. Most of them are for my corporate reporting, but this one, the top one here, is for my CDP questionnaire. So when I'm sending requests to different people internally, I'm not going to go through the whole process today of requests. This could be a mini demo in itself, but basically it's a small little environment for different participants to go in and input data for you. And one of the things that I wanted to show is just a logic flow of Novisto. So in this case, I've excluded timber products as well as cocoa. And that basically the system will prompt me all these other questions specifically for timber products, and what is excluded exactly, the reasons, the value change stage, etc. And all of these questions are repeated for cocoa. So I can add groups as well, so I can repeat the whole group. And if I add, let's say, soy here, and I modify this to add soy for whatever reason, then I'm going to have another section specifically for soy. So we see the system will create these logical chains depending on your selection to really replicate the CDP process here. Once I go through this, I've answered everything, I can simply mark as complete and submit for approval. In this case, I'm the only approver, so I've only put myself for demo purposes, but you could structure a whole workflow here with contributors, reviewers, approvers, so you decide what your process is. All right, and then at the end, when I'm ready, I can simply submit and maybe let me just go back here. Or was it still here? No, let me go back to my CDP questionnaire. And when I'm done, I verified everything, I can simply submit directly to CDP. So we actually have an integration, an API connection to the CDP portal. So you don't even need to go in and manually upload all of your information to CDP. You can simply send to CDP. You just need to register your account, and the data will be sent to CDP directly. And then you're done. You've done your submission. You get an approval or a confirmation email, and that's it. So that's for the first mini demo. If there's any questions, Ali, please let me know at this point in the chat or somewhere else. If not, I'm going to move to the second demonstration of today. We're good, Ali?
Yes, so far no questions, but feel free, folks, send them in via chat or Q&A, and we'll take them as we go or at the end when we have our Q&A session.
Okay, perfect. Second use case is the disclosure gap assessment. So as I said, on Novisto, we digitize all the different standards and frameworks across quite a lot of different taxonomies. So the first thing maybe that I'll show actually, as our customers are preparing for their fiscal year, they get to choose for each fiscal year what different standards and frameworks they want to choose. So if they have to answer ESRS, for example, they'll get to choose specifically which ESRS subsection is relevant for them and what is material to them. Of course, and again, in today's presentation, I'm not going to go there, but you can actually go in and configure that even more, because maybe not every single data point within ESRS E17 is material to you. So you might have to edit some things, and that is available through the platform as well. But then you can choose, CDP, Covadis, S&P, whatever it is that you are disclosing to in the next fiscal year, you can do so on the platform. And maybe what we see as a use case with Novisto users is that because this mapping is continuously done and there's no added costs to add a new standard, it's all part of the package here. Our users are actually seeing that they can start adding more to their disclosures, and it's quite easy because they already have a lot of data for it. So what happens is once you publish this, your metrics library is filled with all these metrics that all are associated with different taxonomies. And what I wanted to show today specifically is the gap assessment capabilities. So you can always export all of your metrics. You can export your full metrics library, or you can identify specific sources or specific fiscal years. So you decide, and you can always export all that data to play around with it on Excel if you want to visualize it in another way. So I've already done this export here. And what I've done is basically first, so this is just kind of the raw data, filtered a little bit, but basically this is raw data, lots of internal codes, field IDs, things like that. And then the label of the data point itself. So each data point is one line. What fiscal year is it for? What is the value of it here? So of course you have quantitative, qualitative. You'll understand that Novisto handles all sorts of different types of data. So it can be quite diversified. And then you have the different here. Let me go to the right-hand side here. There's a column here that identifies all of the different taxonomies that are associated with each individual value. So you can see that this value, for example, is used for ESRS, UN Global Compact, GRI. And then you have quite, CDP and GRI, etc. So what we can do here, and I've created a second tab here, you can quickly use this and you can identify basically what is the gap or the overlay between different standards and frameworks. So total number of data points related to CDP, 1,500, 1,300 for GRI, and there's 250 that overlap. And I can go and switch this over here and maybe say GRI and ESRS. And this will switch over. There's 2,400 for ESRS, and then there's 443 that are overlapping. And then if I actually had this data filled in for 2 separate fiscal years, I could start comparing. Okay, well, I already have X amount of data points for my CDP disclosure, for example. So I could actually use this to identify additional disclosure that I might want to do. And the lift might be much lower than expected. When you're looking at CDP, maybe you already have a lot of data for it. Okay. And of course, that quite useful for our customers to be able to do that, and we assist them in implementation. We do our own implementation. So when we do implementation, and we have our customer success team and our ESG analyst team that works with you. So these are conversations we typically have with our customers. So that concludes the second mini use case. At this point, I think we have exactly perfect. So what kind of tool do you currently use for disclosure? So next use case is more on the disclosure side, how you can actually export data, create a report, create kind of disclosures. So curious to know here from a group, what kind of tool do you currently use? Is it more of an internally developed tool, some kind of a purpose-built tool that your IT team developed? A generic reporting tool adapted for ESG, maybe something you're using in finance and you've adapted to ESG. A word processing software, so like a Word, Microsoft Word, for example. Or do you already have a specific ESG tool, such as Novisto or one of our competitors, and you're using that system to do your reporting? Give it a few extra seconds. All right, I think we're good. Let's show the results here. Okay, so pretty spread out. Okay, we see quite a few are using Word. That's great for our next segment, since we'll be showcasing our Word integration. So very happy to see that. But definitely a good diversity of tools here being used in the group here. Okay, let's close it off. So next use case, as I said, is to present our Word and Excel integrations. So of course, on Novisto, let me go back to the platform here for a second. We have native reporting capabilities, and we saw the questionnaire example. We can build custom templates. There's different things we can do on the platform. And again, this could be the topic of another session, or please, if you want to have a demo, let us know. We'll be more than happy to have a conversation. But today we want to showcase our Word integration. So let me open up this document here. So this is just a Word document. It's a fake ESG report that we've built here in the team. And we're leveraging Microsoft Word, and we're allowing our customers to actually embed values directly within a Word document from their Novisto environment. So all of the highlighted text here is all values that are embedded directly from their Novisto environment, such as this one. This is my disclosure of general basis for preparation of sustainability statement. This one is within the reporting scope and boundaries metric, and is for the year 2023 for my consolidated main. So I could see all of my sub-entities here. So as I'm creating this file, I can decide which source I want to embed and which fiscal year I want to embed as well. So all of these fields are embedded, and having this approach, and I'll show you a few more functionalities, but the thinking here and the rationale is that, again, proven by the questionnaire and the survey that we just did, a lot of teams are using Microsoft Word right now. There's a lot of teams that collaborate on a report. There's a lot of people that have to be part of this process. You'll have communications team, graphic design teams, you have legal teams. So a lot of people, so having everyone trained and onboarded into a whole new tool is possible. It's not impossible, but a lot of our customers told us, you know what, we like Word. We want to continue using Word. So we, said, you know what, let's do that. Let's integrate within Word. We have our add-in here. If you go to your Word software right now and you look within your add-ins, you'll find Novisto right now. You won't be able to log in. You don't have a license yet, but you'll find it in there. It's nothing complex. And you just basically sign in, and you have this little window on the side here, allowing you to, as an ESG manager, as a sustainability expert, you can manage your Novisto data, and you can collaborate with all sorts of other people at the same time. So I'm embedding these values in here in this document. I can embed tables, of course. I can embed all sorts of quantitative values. I can embed graphics as well, and dashboards in here. And I can actually, what I can also do, I can search through my metrics library. So the same metrics library that we continuously have on the Novisto side, I can always search for it here. I can select specific values if I want to. But what I can also do with this is I can actually go into the settings here, and I can switch over. I can create a whole new template. So I'll take this, for example. I'll say, you know what, take all of my 2024 values in this whole document and update them to 2025. So just like that, I'm recreating my next year's report just by switching the different sources or the different fiscal years of all my embedded data points. Same thing for sources here. So just this approach, yes, I'm showing an ESG report right now, but this opens up a whole bunch of other use cases. I've had an example for a customer. I don't have the file. I should probably replicate actually. She used this integration to create a kind of an RFP answer cheat sheet for her sales team. So she kept getting questions from her sales team. Her sales team kept going to HR, to different people for different questions around ESG because they received those in RFPs. And basically she decided, you know what, let me have one source of truth for them. She could have given them access to Novisto, but she knows that the salesperson going to Novisto, not quite sure where to go, which data point to use. So she kind of curated a specific file just for RFPs. She has embedded all of the different answers from Novisto into that file. And that she shared that file to her sales team. So she knows that they have access to this file in their SharePoint. They have access to the most up-to-date information for all of their top questions. If she still gets the questions from them, she'll just add that extra answer in the sheet so that other salespeople can use it. So now they have this sheet, they can use it, they can leverage it for answering RFPs, much more efficient internally to get this done. And also she has control, I guess, or she makes sure that they have the right answers and the right narrative around different topics. So just another example of a use case that this customer has used this for. You could have, one kind of document like this per business unit, per source, per brand, whatever you want to do. So really allowing you to leverage your Word functionalities and how everyone is used to using words to simply embed the values you need. And then you can have that portfolio of documents that are using this integration. If not, the other integration as well that I want to show is the same logic here, but if for Excel. So same thing. In this case, we're talking only about, you can only embed quantitative values in here, and you can then leverage Excel to do whatever you want. So I've shown an export from Excel, that's always possible, but you can actually embed values the same way we've just shown for the Word integration you can embed those within an Excel file. So this could be used, for example, for an executive kind of a KPI tracking board they might want to have. You can export that through API if you want as well into some kind of a Power BI system. So you can use this data across different tools. Let me look at my little sheet here, make sure that I've covered everything. Yeah, I think, oh, maybe a few different tools here in the settings. I showed you can switch over to fiscal years and the source. You can also, on the Word integration, you can also have this, you can make those values non-editable. So maybe that's a question we also get is people, can they change this value? So you can make that non-editable, meaning that no one's going to mess around with this data, so that if it's inside a document, because on Novisto, you have an audit trail, you have all that proof, that contributor, reviewer, approver workflow. So all of that documentation and attachments, everything is on Novisto for auditing purposes and for verification purposes. So you don't necessarily want to make those fields editable. So you can lock them in, so only you or whoever has access to Novisto can edit those fields. Or you can open them up, of course. You lose an audit trail though, because if someone changes on Word, you won't know exactly what happened. But you can still leverage Word's ability to track changes. So that concludes the third mini demo today. Let's move on to the fourth. I don't believe we have a question. And Ali, just verifying we don't have any questions in chat.
There is one question. I'll read it out loud. Is the CSRD module part of the Novisto reporting solution, or is it a separate module that has to be purchased separately?
No, so well, we don't have a CSRD module per se. CSRD is part of our taxonomies that we track and digitize. So if I just go back here, so CSRD is part of it. As I said, all of these are part of it for all of our customers. And as we add more, those are also added to the database. So all of this is out of the box, and you can choose this. And when we onboard our customers, of course, we'll make that selection, and that will generate the metrics library for these customers in their own environment. And then we can go in further in the Manage Metrics tab here, and happy to have a second session on this, where you can actually configure it, change the units of measure, remove the placeholders, because there's a lot of placeholders in those data points, make sure they're adapted to you and to your company. So there's a little bit of configuration to be done even after that, just to make sure it's really exactly how you need it, and our team takes care of that configuration. So that is all included within the system. We also have a double materiality module in partnership with Just Impact. So that is an additional module if you're interested in doing your double materiality with us. It's a software-based approach to double materiality. We enable stakeholder engagement as well, really identifying your IROs. So that could also be the topic of another session for sure, to explore our double materiality tool. And giving you an example here, as our customers are asking us for more taxonomies, we just add them to the whole list here. So for example, this is the Athens Stock Exchange ESG disclosure requirements that we've added to the system. And I would just basically continuously update it on the system. So it's not like we're doing this for this specific demo environment. Every single customer sees all of this list within all of their instances. There's no difference between this list from one customer to the other. I hope that helps. Any other question, Ali, before I go to the last one?
There's one more about CBAM, whether we support CBAM or not.
CBAM?
CBAM, yes.
I'm not quite sure what that is. I apologize for that. Maybe I should. And if I should, I apologize. I'll educate myself on that. But Ali, can you do a quick Google search? I don't think we have it here, but I'd be curious to understand what that is.
Yeah, from the conversations we've had with our ESG team before, Novisto is not the right fit for supporting CBAM, but we'll for sure take this conversation offline and reach out to Ajay to continue the conversation there and see why or why not we are not supporting CBAM. But the short answer is no, we don't have CBAM right now in this current version of Novisto.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll definitely follow up with a more thorough written answer for you for sure. Okay, so last use case, ESG insights and benchmarking and dashboards. So how can you visualize performance, track your peers, build custom dashboard, basically support decision making? So let me go first and showcase benchmarking. So let me go here and here and benchmark. So in Novisto, we actually support benchmarking, as obviously I'm about to show. We will either source publicly available information from different databases, and actually we're developing as part of our AI toolkit our own capabilities to go and scrape information from the web, from different publicly available reports, to provide that intel to our customers. So right now, what you can see in our benchmarking tool, and this is based on CDP data, this one, for example, you can actually compare your data against different peers. So this is just publicly available data from CDP, as I said, and you can compare both quantitative, qualitative figures as well, side by side like this. And I could scroll through the different peers here and see all the different answers from those peers. So quite useful to, yes, compare quantitative values from different peers, but also quite useful to compare qualitative answers. What kind of answers? What kind of strategy? What did they say about different topics? So this tool is quite useful for our customers. And also, what I want to show here, you can actually also see your peer documents. So all these documents are digitized on Novisto. So you can actually go and search for different information. You can identify, you can view their whole documents, whatever it is, a 10K or something. You can view those documents, search information within those, so you have access to all of this information directly within Novisto. You can categorize it by different, by peer, for example. So you can really play around with your peer documents and your peer information to help you in your strategy. Next one is in terms of analyzing and dashboards. Actually, before going there, maybe let me show you a little bit of the AI tools. So we have some AI spread out throughout the platform right now, mostly to help internal processes, such as ingesting historical data when we onboard a new customer. Lots of AI there to help us accelerate that process. But we're bringing a lot of AI to the platform in the next few quarters and years. That's going to be one of the big focuses of Novisto. And something that we're delivering quite soon is our EHE AI analyst. So I want to give you an example here of our EHE analyst here. So I've chosen a company in the fiscal year, and I'm just going to query it with a simple question here. So asking for, and again, this is a Sanofi pharmaceutical company, so I'm using this as an example. And I'm querying my own database. So it's querying all my metrics, all my data points, all of my documents. So everything that is contained within Novisto is being searched for right now by the system. So you can ask it all sorts of different questions. Of course, as we continue to develop this, the timing on it and the thinking time is something we want to improve. This is only a prototype. It's not on the platform yet. But as we push this on the platform, we want to make sure that this becomes a conversational tool for our customers to be able to analyze their data, to be able to retrieve information quickly and kind of generate some kind of a summary, or if you're using ChatGPT or any tools like that, more and more tools are integrating AI into their system. So the same is for us. The benefit is that it's making sure that all the data is captured from your own documents, from your own information. It's not being polluted from outside sources. So you're really making sure that what you're seeing is really within your documents. And you can even have a whole list of references. So really the system will let you know exactly for each individual point, which document and which page on that document was this data taken from. So you can really quickly identify and verify this information generated by AI. And this will evolve over time. Over time, we want to add more and more AI capabilities, such as generative AI, for example, being able to, we're already reading all of your documents, digesting all of that through our algorithms. How can we generate data for you? You need to consolidate a qualitative field for your 7 business units. Let AI do that. Let's formulate some kind of an answer that takes into account all of your business units' answers for this specific qualitative data point. So these kind of tools are what we're working on at Novisto right now, and hopefully I'll be able to showcase a prototype of that in our next seminar, but that will probably take a few quarters still. And finally, in terms of visualization, actually 2 more things. One thing is the target setting. So you can actually, I'm going here, you can set different targets for all of your quantitative metrics here. Let me just pull this in. So all of your quant data, you can establish targets here, interim targets. Let me go to the edit page. You can set a description. You can add an interim target if you want. So you can control this, baseline year. What is is it a target value? Is it a percentage? You decide what that is for which source. So you can have a target per source as well. You can attach a description, like I said. So, you can control these kinds of targets very easily, and those are usable in your dashboards after that and are viewable when you're looking at a metric. You can actually view those targets as well in a very granular basis. And finally is the dashboards. I've already shown our Excel dashboard, so you can really you can use Excel and you can API out all the data from Novisto. So some of our customers have internal data analyst team, and they're an army of people who are really good with Power BI, and we're not going to compete against Power BI. So they just want to export data into Power BI and leverage that. Great, that's something that can be done. Open API structure, so you can just push data out from Novisto into whatever tool you want. There's no problem there. But we also have some native dashboarding, of course. So you can always look at these, for example. So this is a workforce profile example. So kind of a widget-based approach here. Widget-based approach here where you can visualize data. You can filter by different sources. So you can visualize this data for different sources or for different fiscal years. And again, if as I said, this is a widget-based, you can start moving pieces around. You can add things. And the way that we approach this, if I go back to dashboards, is that you can have the visibility can be done for just within the organization, or you can actually have a dashboard that is linked outside. So in this case, not something I'm going to be able to show, but basically you can just share a link here, and you can just send a link to someone, and they'll be able to just view this dashboard from outside. They don't even need to log in. They don't need to have any kind of seat. It can be shared on a website, for example. If you want to have a kind of a data room on your website, you can just put a link in there, embed it within your website, and that's something that is going to be dynamically evolving as you input and modify data. So just another way to help users quickly view their data. And I think that's it for me, Ali. I'm checking my notes here. I think that's in terms of our quick little demos for today. I think that is pretty much it. Did I forget something?
That was great. You did not. No, that was thorough. But we do have a couple of questions,
Yeah,
and you can go through them before
great.
you stop sharing your screen. Yeah. So we have two questions around XBRL tagging. Is it
Sure.
included? Do we offer it? Is it a separate service?
Yeah. So for XBRL tagging, as you understood here, we leverage Word. So Novisto itself is not a document management software, so we cannot apply XBRL tagging ourselves. You have tools out there for financial reporting that could do that as well. You have tools that are specialized in XBRL tagging. So what we do at Novisto, actually, especially for a CSRD, is that we generate an XBRL tag list. So instead of having just the ability to apply a tag, which, as I said, we don't have on Novisto, our ESG team actually has gone through a process to identify every single XBRL tag for each of the CSRD data points. So you get an export, a spreadsheet really from the system, where you can basically look and identify each individual line, each individual data point, and all of the XBRL tags and the variables and all of the context fields and everything for each individual data point are on that file. So our customers, what they'll do is they'll basically have, and I can show you here, for example. Oh no, it's not here. Sorry, it's forgot where it is now. But basically, you have for every single tag, you'll have everything you need. So our customers will provide the spreadsheet to an analyst or someone internally, leverage their existing XBRL tag tool that they probably have for financial reporting, and just apply those tags. Just go through the motion of applying that tag. So you can delegate that to, like I said, to an analyst, because all the logic behind it, the selection was already made by our ESG team. So that's what we provide in terms of XBRL tagging.
Thank you. And while you're on the subject of CS30 and XBRL specifically, we had this webinar a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, on that exact topic, on how one of our customers leveraged Novisto to manage their entire CS30 reporting. That's one of the sessions available on the Resources Hub. Make sure you check it out. And the next question is about integrations. They are using ERP systems. Is that something they can integrate with Novisto?
Absolutely. So actually I have this open here. I had a call earlier. So let me throw this on my second screen so you can view it here. A little bit of a process map for everyone. So just an example of, so we have different ways. So we can connect through API to any system. Well, basically, we have an open API structure. So your IT team can connect to Novisto to push data, pull data, whatever you want. During onboarding, we do take upon ourselves, if you want to create an SFTP process. So whatever system you have, we will identify kind of a secure server here within our cloud, within your own environment. We'll have a process here that will check for new files every 24 hours. If there's a new file detected, we'll convert it to Novisto format. So it's not like you have to input a very specific format. If not, it doesn't work. You submit, the template you have. It gets processed by our AI tools, as I mentioned. So this is one of the examples of where we leverage AI to make sure that it's properly converted to our internal system or coding. And then when it's converted, it'll basically push it and port it into the platform. So this is a process that we do with our customers quite typically. We also have some APIs. We do have our own carbon accounting module. So we obviously have an API to that module where data flows from that carbon accounting tool to the ESG data management and reporting tool. So that's an API we have. And of course, we have the API to CDP, SNP, Microsoft Word, and Excel. So those are already out of the box.
Perfect. And you just answered the very last question that just came in. So that's perfect.
Great.
And what else do we have? There's a question. We did answer the dashboarding capabilities, and there's a question about the number of peers that could be uploaded in the peer comparison section.
Up to 5, I believe, but actually when you look at your manage peers here, the whole list is there. So you have access to the whole list. So if your peers are already part of, let me add a peer here. If your peers are already part of the list that we have, and as you can see, the list is pretty long, you can have as many as you want. If it's not, each customer can add 5 extra peers, basically. 5 new peers to this list. So that's how we grew the list over time, as we had people ask us for more and more peers, and we added them. But eventually, at some point, we're gonna have them all.
And a question for you, Casper, where is the data for these peers coming from?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, it's a mix right now. Right now, it's coming from publicly available databases. So CDP is a big one. It's a big source of data for us right now. But as part of our AI roadmap, we'll be adding our own capabilities to scrape data from publicly available reports. So again, this is in a think tank right now from our AI team. It's working right now. We just need to make sure it scales and it's getting accurate data. We're very careful with AI tools. We want to make sure that if we release some AI capabilities, that it's working very well. We don't want to release something and then have our customers make a decision on that data, and then it's actually wrong data, not scraped well, right? So we're being quite careful in what we're releasing. So this is a tool that we're going to have quite soon. I was told by product team end of year. They seem pretty confident in that timeline. So to be able to actually just pull data from documents, reports, policies, things like that.
Thank you. And one last question we have is around EU taxonomy. Can you give a glance at what this functionality entails?
For sure. So EU taxonomy is part, I don't know if you've seen, let me just flash it here. The EU taxonomy, I was here, regulation is part of what we digitize in the platform. And if I go through my metrics here, and I'll find EU taxonomy, I believe I just need to type that in. Yep, there you go. So we have different metrics specifically built for EU taxonomy. It's a little bit more of an odd case here. Let me go to this fiscal year where I have some data, I believe. And basically the whole process or the whole, call it process of EU taxonomy has been digitized on Novisto. So you have a full kind of guidance list here. This is an example of a metric. Right now, you brought me to a metric. So each metric is basically a collection of data points and then different fields and quantitative, qualitative fields, a little bit like you saw in the CDP questionnaire. But you have a lot of different tools as well. And you have the official guidance coming from the EU taxonomy, for example, so a list of all the EU activities. And this guidance is specifically attached to this data point. It's not a general guidance that is associated with the whole metric here. So this specific economic activities has its own section here within the EU taxonomy. Of course, you can consult the full guidance from EU taxonomy if you want to, but we've made that process, we've made that effort to really narrow down what you're seeing in the guidance tab here to make it much more relevant for users. You could also add your own protocol. So as you go through the process, multiple choice here, you can select whatever activity is relevant. And as you make a selection, the rest of the screen will adapt and those different questions will be modified. So you basically go through the process here. Each data point has a certain number attached to it, because at some point in the EU taxonomy, sometimes you have to re-input values, right? So we guide you through the whole process here as you answer these. And if you want to add a new activity, well, basically you just go and add a new activity, and you can basically create, if I scroll down, you can add a whole group. So for each activity that you want to add, you add a whole group in here, and then that whole block of data points will repeat itself, and you can re-input data. And at the very end here, you'll have your totals and whatnot, basically aggregating data from the top blocks here. And of course, this is just one. This is the OPEX one, but you have all the different EU taxonomy metrics identified here.
Thank you, Casper. And one last question, is the platform directly integrated to EcoVadis?
Good question. EcoVadis is a little bit of an odd case. EcoVadis really wants you to go on their platform. They really want you to go on their platform and buy more of their functionalities once you're on their platform. So unfortunately, we don't have a connection directly to EcoVadis. We're ready to go. We're ready to dance with them, but they don't want to do that. They really want users to log into their platform. So what we do for EcoVadis right now is, again, using our AI tools. If you have an EcoVadis questionnaire coming in, because it's so diversified, and so there's so many questions, and it's not something we can just digitize for all of our customers. It's something that is quite more custom built per company. So our customers basically, when they check here EcoVadis, and giving you a little bit of a behind the curtain view here, because you might have seen that EcoVadis is here. However, it's just one single checkbox. This is just a prompt to let our team know that one of our customers have chosen EcoVadis. And basically, there's an off-platform process that happens where we'll reach out to this customer. Hey, you chose EcoVadis. Let us help you with that. They share their questionnaire with us. We run it through our AI tools to identify those metrics, identify the data points that is relevant for them. And we will construct a questionnaire, basically a fully custom built questionnaire specifically for them. So they'll have, within this questionnaire tab, they'll have an EcoVadis questionnaire with all of the questions specifically built for them. And then they can use the platform's capabilities to go and collect this data and then verify it and whatnot. So unfortunately, not integrated with the rest of our platform as much as CDP, for example. We wish. But we're trying to push on EcoVadis to make it happen. In the meantime, we have a pretty good workaround for our customers.
Great, thank you, Casper. And going back to one question, going back to the CBAM question from before, we support that through our partners. It's not on Novisto directly, but it's supported through our integrated partners. So the short answer that was no before is now yes. And we'd be happy to dive deeper into that, how we support that particular framework with you in a subsequent conversation. And the last poll here. So which one of these do you think adds the most value to your ESG program? A streamlined support for your questionnaires, like what we saw just now, a disclosure gap assessment whenever you're thinking of taking on a new reporting directive, an auto-populated and audit-ready report generation, and lastly, the section on insights and benchmarking against peers. Which one of these is the most valuable, can give you the most value and help you with your ESG program? Let us know. Few more.
I'd say all of them, Ali.
Yes, sadly, we don't have all of the above choice, but I agree with you. All right, so let's see what the results are.
Let's bring the results up. I was waiting for this one. Okay, good.
All right, so we have two.
Definitely less on the insights and benchmarking than I expected, as well as disclosure. Okay.
Interesting.
Maybe if there was multiple choice though, Ali, maybe that's
Exactly. We should have had a all
can't
of
get
the.
people's feedback right now. That's
Mhm.
nature of a webinar. All right.
Okay, yeah.
Any closing
Thank you.
remarks, Ali?
Yes, so that brings us to the end of today's session. We covered a lot, and hopefully you're walking away with some new ideas or validation on how technology can really elevate your sustainability reporting practices. Now, we covered 4 distinct scenarios today, and we didn't get to dive into a lot of things like how Novisto supports data collection, what audit trails look like in the platform, or how you can create and manage your custom metrics and KPIs in Novisto. If you're curious about any of these or anything else that we did not talk about today, we'd love to have a more in-depth one-on-one conversation. Just reach out and we can set that up. And as a reminder, this webinar will also be available on the website very shortly among the rest of the webinars. Make sure you check them out. And that's it. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you for
Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your days.
Thank you, Casper, for walking us through the scenarios. And thank you, Kate, working in the background, who made it all happen.
See you, everyone.
Good day, everyone. Bye.